it is April from Wilkerdos, and I hear you were taking questions for your router series. My question is, I know you were supposed to go either clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on if you were outside of the piece or inside, but I'm not sure which is which. So if you could explain which direction you go, when, and also why, I would appreciate it. I look forward to seeing your answer, and I also look forward to watching the rest of your series.
Well, that's a really good question, April, and it's something that comes up quite a bit. The short answer is, if you're working the outside of a piece, you go anti-clockwise or counterclockwise. If you're working the inside of a piece, then you go clockwise. Let me just move the camera in and I'll show you why. Now the router is going to spin my cutter in a clockwise direction. So my cutter is going to spin that way, in exactly the same way that a saw blade is going to cut. Think of this like a saw blade with just two teeth on it. We never get confused as to which way we pass the timber through a table saw or pass a skill saw over or through a piece of timber, and it's just a 90 degree. So with our saw blade, or in this case our router cutter, we would pass the timber against the teeth like that, yeah? All we're doing is we're moving the machine, so to go around the outside we're travelling this way, anti-clockwise, yeah? That's why. You can also think of it like a wheel, yeah? That wheel wants to travel that way, so we want to move it against the direction it wants to travel. That's what it says when you read or hear people saying going against the cut, as it were, yeah? So for the outside we go counter or anti-clockwise, yeah? I'll now introduce another three pieces, and so we're going to go anti-clockwise. So we're going this way, this way, this way, and then this way. You can see hopefully that if you're working the inside of an edge, a hole, a letterbox aperture, or whatever, for an inside we're travelling in a clockwise direction. That's in simple terms. Now, that's all well and good, but in practical applications, if we're cutting slots, trenches, dados, whatever, we're kind of working potentially on the inside of the piece. This is where people, I think, get most confused. Now, I choose my words carefully because I say working around the piece. Now, that's all well and good for the outside edge for a round over, but in this application the piece becomes our guide or our template or whatever that is, and I'm still going to use the same rule. I'm going to go around the outside anti-clockwise, in this case the outside of our template. Some people remember it as working from left to right, so from this side working from left to right is anti-clockwise, and working from this side, working from left to right, is still anti-clockwise. And it doesn't matter whether I push the router or whether I pull the router, as long as I'm still travelling around the outside of the guide, that's the correct direction of cut. Even if we're just working a portion of an edge, but using a guide, in this case a straight edge, we're still going to go around the outside of the guide anti-clockwise. Now in this scenario, my guide is a template and it's an internal. So now I'm going to go clockwise around here to route out this aperture. I'm using a guide bush on here. My template edge, that's where I'm going to go clockwise. Anti-clockwise outside, clockwise inside. Well, there you go, April. It's literally as easy as that. Now, you might have heard the phrase or terminology bantered around of a back cut or even a climb cut, and as you probably expect, every rule has got its exceptions. I'm not going to go into what they are now, when they're used and why, so I don't want to muddy the waters. But there really is nothing to them at all. If you are interested or you want to know, then leave a comment. For everyone else out there watching, we'll see you again next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you've got a question, leave a comment and you can find yourself on another cutting edge router tip video. We'll see you soon. She says bye too. Good girl. Paul? You gonna say bye bye?